Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a good day. I am here today because I am going to go over the prosecution's rebuttal to the closing argument of the defense in the Delphi murders. I apologize if this has taken me a bit to get to, but I'm going to do it now. So the court went back in session at 1:07 p.m. and Nick McCleland begins his rebuttal to the defense's closing argument. He says it's been a long 3 or 4 weeks, that now it is time to hand the case over to the jurors. He tells them, "You are in the driver's seat. I'm not up here to tell you how to feel." McCleland says that the defense did not back up their claims, that the prosecution has witnesses on the trail that day, and that they simply reaffirm that Allen was there. He tells the jury that witnesses after the murders on the High Bridge do not matter. McCleland points at Richard Allen and says he used a gun to scare them. He says Libby had a blood outline of a tear on her face. He tells the jury that Oberg's testing was verified and that it links Allen to the crimes. Allen is extremely engaged and looking at Andy Baldwin with disbelief. McCleland says, "Words matter. Why don't Allen's words matter?" He says there are 2 victims in this case, Abby and Libby, and he says they are Allen's victims. But they aren't just victims. They are heroes. McCleland says that Libby said someday she's going to help police solve crimes, and that's exactly what she did. And that was the end of McCleland's rebuttal. At 2:03 p.m., the jury was given instructions at 1:15 p.m. Judge Gull says that the alternate jurors will be in the deliberation room, but engaged, but will not participate in the deliberations. She says their decision must be beyond a reasonable doubt, and she says the burden is on the state to prove that. Gull said it is not beyond all possible doubt. She says that defendants are not convicted on suspicion. She tells the jury their decision must be unanimous. She tells them if they are left with 2 interpretations, they must choose one that sides with innocence. She says they can take into account any bias the witness may have. She says they should believe the witness until they cannot with a good reason. Gull says nothing she said during the trial should be considered evidence. She says there are no transcripts of the witnesses. She says there is nothing that was not admitted. Gull tells the jury that during deliberation, they must consult with reason. She says bailiffs will be outside the deliberation room, and she tells them they cannot leave unless the full group is present. She says there is no mention of sentencing in the paperwork. Gull says a 4-person will be chosen and will sign the verdict. Gull says the bailiffs took an oath that they will not communicate. At 1:24 p.m., the jury leaves with instructions. Judge Gull now lays out expectations for those outside of the deliberation room. She says the attorneys need to be within 5 minutes of the courtroom. She says if the jury needs to see evidence, all attorneys will be invited. Gull says that Richard Allen will be brought in if the jury requests. She says the jury will pick a 4-person. She says the jury will not deliberate on Sundays. She says the jury will deliberate from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily, unless at 4 p.m. they choose to stay and deliberate longer. She says the jury will not deliberate on Sundays. The court goes off the record at 1:27 p.m. on November 7th, 2024. So that's it, you guys. That is the rebuttal from the prosecution in this case. And now we are on jury watch. I know this is really hard for everyone who's been following this case, but I want to just remind everyone that there is a lot of evidence for these jurors to go through. They have mounds and mounds of testimony. They have over nearly 400 exhibits to look at. And this can take a while. And we should not be wanting or hoping for a hasty decision. A man's life is at stake here, and it makes me proud to know that they are taking their time to look at all the evidence. Thanks, guys, and thanks for hanging out. See you behind the crime door.